Today our guest is Chad Kemp of Kemp Law Firm, and we'll have Chad talking to us about estate planning and wills. So Chad, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. Again, my name's Chad Kemp. I'm an attorney. I have my own practice, Kemp Law Firm. I was born and raised here in Madison, and I went to undergrad and law school here at the University of Wisconsin, and I graduated in 2009, and my practice primarily focuses on business planning and estate planning law.
Okay. So you're an attorney. What is your role as an attorney when it comes to estate planning?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, what I do is I sit down with a prospective client or an individual and help them figure out the things that they want to have happen after they pass away. Mm-hmm. So I will go through the process. I will generally give the clients a questionnaire and help them kind of sort out what their values are and the things that are important to them for their family, for their children, and their loved ones. And I'll actually go through and draft a number of documents for them, you know, wills, trusts, healthcare power of attorney, and a number of other documents as well.
Okay. So what is the difference between an estate plan and a will? When I think about estate planning, I think you know, you have a lot of assets, you have a big home, you have a lot of, you know, you may have a business, have a lot of things. So what's the difference when you think of estate planning and you think of a will? I mean, what's the difference?
Right. Well, that's a good question, and it's important that people understand the difference. Estate planning really is not just for very, very wealthy people. A lot of people, like you mentioned, you think about Bill Gates or someone like Warren Buffett who has billions of dollars. These are the only people that need estate planning. That's not true. Really, estate planning is essential for anyone, like you mentioned, that may own a small business, people that have children, and quite frankly, anyone that has an insurance policy. It's important that people get these documents prepared. And even if you have none of that, it's also important to get the necessary healthcare documents prepared for yourself as well.
Okay, so you're saying if you don't have any kids, no home, you know, you have debt, and it's still important to have an estate plan lined up?
Yes, it is important at the very least to get documents like your health care power of attorney, your financial power of attorney, and a document called a living will. It's also known as a declaration to physicians. And the reason why that's important, I believe in 2005 there was a case down in Florida with a young woman who was in a vegetative state, and there was you know, a fight between her then husband and her parents as to what should happen to her. And it's important that we take care of this so we don't have to, you know, put our family or our loved ones through those kinds of situations.
Okay. What happens if you don't have a estate plan or a will? You know, something unfortunate happens, you know, passing.
Sure.
You know, what happens there? How are things taken care of?
Sure. Well, one thing I tell clients is that whether you know it or not, you already have an estate plan prepared for you. Unfortunately, that estate plan is prepared by the state of Wisconsin itself. The state has statutes. Those are the laws that we all have to follow. Mm-hmm. And the law would tell the individual or the people that are remaining what would happen to that individual's estate. And generally, the law will look to the next of kin or the closest relative. But I tell people, you need to make sure that you're in control of those decisions. A judge may not know what you want for your children or what you want for your family or how you want inheritance divvied out. And so it's important that you take the time to just sit down and at least start thinking about these things and talking to someone that can assist with that.
Right. So, you know, with a lot of the families here, you know, you have extended families, you have the grandma staying there, you have your brother and sister, that's, you know, a tight family. And you may talk to one of your siblings and say, you know, if something happened to me, you know, I want you to take the kids. How do, you know, you deal with situations like that when you have the extended family and something happened, you know, and untimely, and you're trying to figure out where the kid's supposed to go?
Right. Well, this is why it's important for people to have these documents drafted for themselves, because if you just have a conversation with someone, that's of course one thing. Mm-hmm. The problem is that someone in your family could try and challenge that. And I know everyone thinks that people are going to act a certain way while they're here. The truth of the matter is if there's a life insurance policy, if someone was a business owner, once money is involved, people sometimes act very differently.
Yes.
And that's something that as a community we need to try and avoid. You know, quite frankly, it can take years to go through the process, a probate process, and working out what someone wanted if they don't have things drafted properly. So it's essential that you make sure you get these documents prepared.
Okay. Now, if someone come to you and, you know, they don't have any estate plan, any will, what would be like some of the things that you would talk to them about?
Sure. Well, of course, every situation is different, and you have things out there online where you can go and draft a will for a certain amount of money. The first thing that I tell people is, with those types of documents, they're generally cookie-cutter documents. And if your situation is the same as mine and is the same as the people listening, then it would make sense to do that.
Right.
But what I do is I sit down with them and kind of get to know them first, because I want to know what their value systems are, what things they hold close to near and dear to their hearts. And then after I go through that process, it's easy for me to try and work out a plan with the client. The main goal, of course, is first education, making sure they understand what would happen if they have nothing in place, and then also giving them enough material where they can make an informed decision for themselves.
Yeah. Chad, what if someone already have a will or estate plan?
Right.
And they come to you?
Okay. The first thing that I do is I actually will review the document first. A lot of people think that they can do this once in their lifetime and that's all they ever need to do. And the fact of the matter is that I tell people that this is a living and breathing document.
Okay.
As your life changes, as you accumulate assets, as you maybe have more children or move, you're going to need to get these documents updated. So I tell clients I will review your documents for free, and then I can kind of assess what needs there may be, what changes may have happened since the last time you had your will or estate plan put together.
Okay, so you need to keep it updated.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
You want it to work when you need it to work. And if you have a document from 1997, things may have changed since then, so it's important to get those updated.
Right. I have two boys, and as a parent, what should I be considering when it comes to the estate planning?
Right. Well, as a parent myself, I also have two sons. It's just important first that you start considering who is going to watch your children. So if you're a married couple, I often tell people to think about what your value systems are and maybe separately write down a list of names, maybe 5 to 10 names. More often than not, the couple will come back with 1 or 2 names that are similar, and that way you can avoid having the argument of where the children are going to go.
Yeah.
A lot of people just tell clients, go, let me know who the guardian is, and I'll draft it, and that doesn't add a lot of value. The second issue, obviously, is you want to pick people that are fiscally and financially responsible, and you want to make sure that these are people that you can trust with your most prized possession, which should be your children.
Right.
So.
Chad, you've been giving us some great information, man. I definitely appreciate that.
Sure, anytime.
Yes, sir. Do you have any final thoughts for the viewers?
Yeah, I mean, more often than not, people just look at estate planning and they either do not want to do it because they feel that they have a long time before something could happen to them, or they don't want to think about their own mortality. And I just tell people, it's much easier to confront that head on, get the questions answered that you need answered, and just get the documents drafted so that your loved ones will be taken care of in the way you want them to. And that's the one takeaway that I want people to understand, is that this may not be a topic that you want to deal with,
right,
but it's something at some point we are all going to have to deal with.
Right.
So,
that's right.
Yep.
Yep. So, Chad, would you like to give everybody your information?
Sure, absolutely. Again, my name is Chad Kemp. I am the attorney at Kemp Law Firm. My phone number is 608-218-4092. And my email address is chad@ckemplaw.com.
Well, Chad, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Sure, anytime.
We would love to have you back to speak on some more topics, some more legal topics.
Sure. I'd love to come in and talk about business issues, more specific estate planning issues, and even some family law as well. So
that'd be great.
excellent. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.